if you would look at my to-do list for just this week, you might think it was my to-do list for the entire month. Look, I've got 2 small kids, a growing business, and multiple YouTube channels that I manage. Today I'm going to show you how to actually plan your week so you can see things get checked off of your to-do list. Finally. Hi and welcome back. My name is Trina. I am a YouTube strategist, and on this channel, I'm committed to helping you do YouTube better. And you need to have the time in your schedule to be able to shoot videos and look over your analytics if you want to do YouTube better to help you grow your business. So when I realized the things that I was tackling on my to-do list were kind of abnormal and people were asking me, how do you get all of that done in the day? I realized I was onto something. So you see, I have 2 full days where I don't have children at home. And they're about 10-hour days because by the time dad takes the kids to the babysitters and picks them up, I got about 10 hours here to focus just on myself and on my business. Whereas the other 2 days, they are here in the house with my mom. And so focusing on things isn't really happening, let's say. So I know that I need to really strategize on the things I want to do and the days I want to do that. So if you want to start having a productive week, here's what you need to do. The first thing I do is every Sunday, I sit down and have a brain dump. All right, I just have like a plain notebook, this guy right here. I sit down and write down all the things that are on my head that I think I need to get done that week. I also double check my Google Calendar, see if I have any appointments, anything blocked off for the week, so that I get it down on paper. Now, what's really important to make this brain dump effective is if you know what your goals are. I like to set yearly goals, and I also like to set 90-day goals. Because what happens if we don't have a clear path, it's basically like going on a road trip without a map, right? You get to a fork in the road, you're not sure which direction to take. Maybe you try to do both. Maybe you panic and you don't do anything. So if you have a clear goal and you know where you're going, it's much more easier to simply know, I'm taking a right here. Nope, I'm taking a left here. So what I like to focus on is every 90 days have one big goal. Last 90 days, my focus was on launching my YouTube membership site. And so all of my tasks were really aligned on setting up training, setting up content, social media strategy. And so all the other things that came out of my head in that brain dump, I knew I had to kind of sit aside for now because I needed to focus on one particular thing. You can't do everything, unfortunately. There are only so many hours in a day. And what you want to focus on, especially if you're trying to grow a YouTube channel or grow your business, is what are the goals that are going to move the needle forward in that. So while last 90 days, I focused on developing and launching my YouTube membership site. If you want more information about it, I'll link it down below. This 90 days, I'm focusing on my own YouTube strategy. So as a YouTube strategist to many channels, I don't really get to spend the time on my own channel. I've heard this from one of my mentors. It's kind of like the cobbler's kids never have new shoes. Well, the YouTube strategist never has a clear strategy. She's doing everybody else's. So this 90 days, since we got the membership set up and it's working and is amazing, I'm now focusing on my YouTube strategy. I'm looking at my click-through rates. I'm looking at the content I'm creating. I'm focusing more now on my strategy. So that means a lot of my to-dos on my list are really going to focus around YouTube now. Then possibly in the next 90 days, I might try to focus on my social media strategy. So maybe I want to grow my Instagram account. Maybe I want to grow my Facebook presence. But for this next 90 days, I'm focusing solely on YouTube so I don't get overwhelmed and stressed, and I'm not able to do tasks that help me see the needle move forward. Because there's nothing worse in a week than sitting down, saying you checked everything off and not seeing progress, not seeing more views, not seeing more subscribers, or if it's your business, not seeing more clients, not seeing more sales. That's why it's really important to focus on one thing every 90 days. All right, so now you have that brain dump and your goals in mind. The next thing you want to do is start grouping together similar tasks. But what I like to do is grab these and just start highlighting the tasks that are similar. What this helps me do is see where I can start grouping these similar tasks. So I like to batch. If you watch any of my content here, you know I batch shoot videos. So today I'm filming about 8 or 9 videos and I'm batching them all in one sitting. I know I have my makeup on, I know I have my camera set up, I know the house is quiet, and I'm going to shoot as many videos as possible here. It's also because I'm in this mindset and I'm not having to bounce back and forth from task to task. When you do that, you actually lose IQ points. So my calendar is absolutely blocked for this chunk of time here this morning for me to shoot these videos. So I'm not having to switch brain waves here and go from like a client coaching call to a YouTube live to a video editing. I'm just focusing on YouTube and shooting content. Some other tasks that I love to group together, like I said, on Mondays and Wednesdays, I have the house empty. So I can focus on things like this, shooting video, or more things that take more brain power that I don't need interruptions over. All right, so on Tuesdays and Thursdays when the kids are home, what I tend to batch together is editing. I edit some videos for my clients, and I know if a kid busts in the door and asks a question or cries or something happens, I know that it's going to be easier for me to get back into editing than say if I was shooting content or if I had a client call. And so that's how I start grouping things together. So I start taking that list and all the groups of similar tasks and start fitting them into my schedule. Like I said, shooting videos, maybe writing email funnels, maybe analyzing email funnels, or doing any kind of analytical stuff would go on Mondays or Wednesdays when the kids aren't here, because that takes a lot of focus for me to really break that down or write content. Those days are also the days for me to have calls with clients. So this is a Monday I'm shooting. On Wednesdays generally are the days that I have client calls, whether it's coaching calls, whether it's podcast episode recordings, whether it is onboarding or team meetings. Wednesdays are for calls because, again, no kids are going to bust through the door, and I can really give my clients and the person that I'm speaking to on the other end of the phone my pure attention. It also prevents me from getting on a call, editing, getting on another call, shooting a video. Every time you switch those tasks, you're going to lose IQ points. So I try to stay in that same zone of genius throughout chunks of time. All right, so now you can start to see where you're going to start putting these chunks of time together, right? Do you have client work? Do you have videos you need to shoot? Do you need to write an email welcome sequence or a sales funnel or do your website? Start putting these tasks all together. Then the next thing I want you to do is get electronic. Now, I do love my simplified planner and I do use it for my week. I have things written down here, but it's also really important to get electronic. So I use Google Calendar, and basically my life is in Google Calendar. Clients can schedule their calls with me. It shows up on Google Calendar. People can schedule a discovery call with me. It shows up on Google Calendar. My team meetings are reoccurring every single week on my Google Calendar. So this allows me to see my week at a glance. Where are the phone calls that I have that week? And where can I start putting batches of content together? I also have a video on how I use Google Calendar and how I start calendar blocking. I'll link it right up above here and also in the description box. But I will take these chunks of time and start breaking up my day. Now, don't start putting your batching content for a whole day, because what happens is if you say it's going to take me all day to shoot these videos, it's going to take me all day. Whereas I am just setting aside 4 hours this morning, 8 a.m. to noon is the time that I'm shooting these videos. That's the time I'm going to get it done. If I made it 5-6 hours, that's how long it's going to take me to do it. But I do have some other stuff I want to get done today, so I've blocked off 4 hours. A task is going to take you as long as you give the time for it to do. So remember that. Don't just block off an entire day. Set realistic time goals for that. Now, the next thing that I need to also block off is personal stuff. I need to take care of myself. I need to take care of my family. And so I'm going to start adding that stuff into my week as well. So like I said, every Sunday I sit down and kind of have this brain dump session and start figuring out what are the things I need to get done. I also start writing out what my family and I are gonna have for dinner. Actually, we break it down what we're gonna have for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and I also plan 2 snacks a day. That also helps me figure out, okay, what do I need at the grocery store? Because then we go to the grocery store on Sundays after I plan out all of the meals that we're gonna have. Then we come home from the grocery store and I meal prep. I want to eat healthy. I want to make my family eat healthy. And if I have a plan, I know exactly what we're going to eat all day. And it's really going to allow me to focus on my work when I'm working and not thinking about what do I need to make for dinner or what's for lunch today. I can take a break from my work, go down, grab the lunch that I already prepared here at home. Yes, I basically pack my lunch, even though I work at home. Because what happens is if you take the time to get out of your zone of genius, what am I going to go make? Go make something. You're going to lose that time. And for me, my Mondays and Wednesdays are so precious. I don't want to lose time trying to think about what I want to have for lunch. So I go down, grab my lunch, and then also I know I want to have a good dinner on the table at night, but I don't want to spend hours making it because I'm spending my time being productive during the day in my business. So we will do a lot of prepping for dinner. We'll do a lot of big dinners, say on Sundays or Mondays, so that we can eat leftovers. And then I also plan in my workouts. So I have a video on my channel on how you can start getting up at 5 a.m. But the best way for me to get up at 5 a.m. is knowing exactly what I'm going to do when I wake up. And that is where I plan my workouts. So when I get up at 5 a.m., I have a plan of attack. I'm not wasting time scrolling through YouTube, figuring out what workout I want to do, or just wasting time in the morning. I'm getting productive as soon as I wake up. I also do this at 5 a.m. because I know if I don't do it in the morning, my days are pretty jam-packed. And by the time I get to the end of my to-do list, I'm pretty wiped out because I put a lot of things in there. And so doing it in the morning not only allows me to get my workout in, but I also feel more energy and I also feel more focused throughout the day when I do that. Now, if you want to watch that video on how I use Google Calendar to calendar block, click that video that is on your screen right now. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for new videos every single week to help you do YouTube better. See you in that next video.